Why you should never trash talk the Golden State Warriors. As you all know, the Warriors have finally broken their losing streak by beating the Houston Rockets 116 to 121, and in today's video we're going to be going through 5 key things that the Golden State Warriors have improved on that will help them not only win more games but help them win another NBA championship. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it means the world if you could subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first is that Stephen Curry continues to play at an elite level, and I think this is something that is so important for this Golden State Warriors team. But as you all know, it is Stephen Curry's team and he's still providing very good numbers. Now if we look at his stats in the most recent game against the Houston Rockets, he did have 32 points, 5 rebounds and 1 assist. On top of this, he also shot 8 from 14 from the field and also went 5 from 9 from the 3-point line and 11 from 12 from the free throw line. So I think this is fantastic to see that Stephen Curry is still playing at such an elite level and is still capable of bringing this team to victory. They have been on a little bit of a cold streak, but when it comes to Stephen Curry, he has been out for a couple of games, and for him to be able to come back and do this in one of the first few games back, I think it is definitely showing that Stephen Curry continues to be that leader and can play still at that MVP and elite type level that Stephen Curry has always played at. Now when it comes to Steph as well, what I do believe makes him so great is definitely his ability to score no matter what the defense throws at him. If you saw during this game, there was definitely double teams, even triple teams at times, or even blitzes off pick and rolls, and because of that, it did give Stephen Curry a lot of room to actually make a great pass, but eventually he finds his way to move off ball to be able to get an open look. And I think that's what makes Stephen Curry so effective. No matter what way, it is really pretty much impossible to guard someone of Steph Curry's caliber who can shoot the 3 ball as well as him, can move off ball as if he's Rip Hamilton, or even better, guys, take you on ISO and hit you with that little floater in the paint. So when it comes to Curry's game, it's definitely continuing to evolve as he gets older. And even though he is, getting past those 30s and heading into his 40s, I'm not saying anytime soon, but I do believe Stephen Curry, his game has definitely changed quite a lot, but he's just becoming more efficient and more efficient at that. So when it comes to Stephen Curry, I think he will be able to lead this team in the future, especially when it comes to this season run. And although they have had a little bit of a cold streak, they did have a great hot streak to begin the season. And I think, this win definitely meant a lot for him and also for the rest of the team. The second is that Chris Paul moved into that starting lineup. Now I think this is something that was absolutely huge for this Warriors team, but we did see on a lot of their runs where they did end up losing, they really did have a pretty cold start. And I think adding Chris Paul to the starting 5 has definitely paid a lot of dividends, because he went off to a hot start and had himself a double-double. Chris Paul had 15 points, 12 assists and also 6 rebounds, while also providing 2 steals. And not only did he do this at a very good rate, but he also shot in a very efficient rate, shooting 3 from 5 from 3 and 4 from 7 from the field. So he did a fantastic job, and I do believe this is exactly what they brought Chris Paul in for. Yes, he can be that leader when it comes to the offensive side and running the offense, but on offense he definitely provides that firepower that they definitely need. And I think Chris Paul definitely showed that in this game. Houston Rockets do have a pretty good starting 5 when it comes to what they have been able to achieve, and the fact that Chris Paul was able to dissect it and be able to provide what he was able to provide for this team, whether it was playmaking, rebounds, or even scoring, it definitely does show Chris Paul can still play at an elite level and can still provide a lot for this team. Now when it comes to CP3, I think having him in the starting lineup can definitely pay a lot of dividends. This small ball lineup that they did run seemed to work very well, and I definitely can see Steph Curry and also Chris Paul running the 1 and 2, and maybe Klay Thompson running that small forward position. If anything, they can always chuck in another big man, maybe Klay Thompson coming off the bench, and had Draymond Green in there to have Wiggins as that small forward, and it's definitely something that has been on everyone's mind. Klay Thompson did play a pretty good game, but when it comes to Stephen Curry and Chris Paul, you definitely want to see them more out there with each other, as they seem to be working very well with each other. And I definitely do think that the fact that CP3 is a point guard and Steph is also a point guard, that's led to a lot of times where they are off on the same time. So I do believe now's the opportunity for Curry to move into that shooting guard position, because I do believe he can definitely be very beneficial in that position. The third is that Andrew Wiggins is finally back to his old self. Now I think Andrew Wiggins has had a bit of a cold start to the season, but over the last couple games he has been able to pick it up. Now they haven't won that many, and against the Houston Rockets in the most recent game was their first win in a while, but Wiggins has slowly been able to really step up and finally get back into his way. Now in the most recent game against the Houston Rockets, he did have 12 points and he also had 7 rebounds rebounds, and 1 assist. Now, he did shoot 3 from 10, so he didn't have the greatest percentage, but I do like to see Wiggins being very aggressive on offense, which is what I'd like to see from someone like Wiggins. His defense definitely has always been really solid, and he is continuing to be an elite defender, but the fact that he is becoming more aggressive on offense is definitely what this team needs. It definitely attracted a lot of attention, and I do believe Wiggins definitely got a lot of attention off, players such as Steph Curry, Chris Paul, and Klay Thompson, which actually led to them scoring a lot more. So even though if Wiggins is missing, as long as he's shooting a pretty decent percentage, I do believe it is very important for Wiggins to continue to be an offensive threat. I think the focus too much on Steph Curry isn't going to work, especially in playoffs and finals time. A lot of these teams definitely know how to mark that, and Wiggins needs to continue to learn how to become more and more of a scorer, like he did when they did win against the Boston Celtics in that NBA Finals. I think Wiggins was a huge asset due to the fact that he was able to drop 20, 25, 30 points in any single game if Stephen Curry wasn't feeling it, and we need that same Andrew Wiggins back for this next season. I think this is a very vital season for Wiggins, especially when it comes to his time in the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors want to win a championship now, and I definitely do believe Wiggins is definitely a huge asset, but obviously over the last couple of games he hasn't been able to show it completely. Now, he is still coming back from where he was before, but I do believe he definitely has an opportunity to continue to get better as time goes on and change this and turn this season around. The fourth is that the Golden State Warriors as a whole are shooting much better efficiently. And I said this in the last video, but Golden State Warriors definitely need to improve their efficiency in scoring, and they definitely showed that in this most recent game. Now, when it comes to the Warriors, we all know they are great scorers, but as a whole, they actually shot 46.8% from the field, which was great to see. Now, Rockets also shot roughly the same, 46.3%, but where we saw the huge difference was in the 3-point and also free throw percentage. Now, Houston Rockets shot 31% during this game, but the Golden State Warriors shot a whopping 48.8%, pretty much 50% from the 3, which I think is fantastic for this team. On top of that, if we look at free throws, Houston actually shot 78%, while Golden State Warriors shot 84.8%. And this is definitely what we need to see from the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are a heavily three-point shooting team, and because of that, if they are going to continue to play that type of basketball, they need to be shooting at a highly efficient rate, and most likely higher than the actual team that they are playing against. And that's definitely one of the reasons why they were able to come out on top in this game. If we look at Houston, they actually didn't shoot 13 or make 13 threes, while on the other hand, you had Golden State Warriors who made 21 threes. So you definitely see a huge difference in makes, and I think that's definitely something that they need to continue and improve on and also continue to become better at. Now, although this may be a bit of an outlier game, as they did shoot almost 50% from the 3, I definitely do believe if they can definitely shoot in that 40% range, they can definitely win a lot more games. We have seen them shoot, pretty bad numbers over the last couple of games when it came to their losing streak that they did have, and I think now that they have been able to find their strides and maybe even find a starting 5 that works for them and gets everyone open, I definitely do believe that this could be a very scary Warriors team from here on out. The fifth is that the Golden State Warriors bench played absolutely fantastic. Now, as you all know, the Chris Paul did move into the starting lineup, and some of the key players from the bench, and only actually played 5 of them, was Dario Saric, Jonathan Kuminga, Trayce Jackson-Davis, Moses Moody, and Brandon Podziemski. So when it comes to these 5 that did come off the bench, they did do a fantastic job. Some key takeaways, definitely Dario Saric, who had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. And I think Dario Saric was one of the biggest sleeper pickups of this offseason for the Golden State Warriors. He's definitely provided a lot to this team and has definitely added that extra extension that they definitely need in scoring in the big man department. Now, when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga, he did only have 7 points and 3 rebounds, but when it came to his on-ball defense, he did do a fantastic job for the 18 minutes that he played. Moses Moody also did a great job playing great defense, but only also had 7 points and 4 rebounds, and Brandon Podziemski with 18 minutes was able to get 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 points. Now, I think if Podziemski was definitely given more of the green light, we could definitely see him scoring more, but definitely, if you're in a team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, and Wiggins, your thoughts of getting a shot up won't be quite a lot. So when it comes to players like Kuminga, Jackson Davis, Moody, and also Podziemski, they are definitely there more for a defensive side of things and leave the scoring up to the bigger guys. But do I think that's the greatest idea? Yes and no. I do believe that the Warriors definitely can focus on Curry scoring or Klay Thompson scoring and all of that. But on top of that, guys,
obviously these teams will definitely start to figure out who to run to, who not to run to, and because of that, it does make, you know, players like Moody, Kuminga, and all these other players not really too much of an offensive threat, and that can definitely be a huge problem going forward, especially if you aren't running a 10 deep type offense team. So I do believe that yes, it may have worked in this game, but they definitely need to change that. And I think players like Kuminga, Davis, Moody, and also Podziemski can definitely look to score more. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dario Saric, who was able to get 10 field goal attempts, was able to drop 18 points, but on top of that, he definitely adds that scoring that is needed, and it's a lot easier for him to score due to the fact that the offense or the defense are definitely more focused on players like Curry, Thompson, Paul, or even Wiggins. So it really does give a huge opportunity for these bench players to have some great scoring games. I definitely can see them averaging at least 10 to 15 points per game and have more of an all-rounded offense for that bench starter.